Let's get into it. Let's get into it. What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? This your boy So No Worries, Steven. No worries. You can call me Steve. You can call me So, but just as long as you know it's no worries, right? I hope you tuning into my broadcast, you tuning in to watch me. Hope it leaves you with a worryless, next day or night. I hope you have a worryless rest of your week. And let's chop it up because we got to talk about AI. We got to talk about what's happening right now. Like I said, the biggest thing right now that's going on right now is you got the whole ICE immigration situation that's going on in California with the, verbal sparring with, President Trump and Gavin Newsom in California. So you got all that. And I'm not getting into politics. I don't want to talk about politics right now. I think we got other pressing issues that we can get into that aren't politics based. But I'm just saying, as a marker right now, you got politics and what's going on in California with the ICE and immigration situations. And now underneath that, you maybe got Kai and DDG and doing their streams and the clips you say, but right underneath that, it's AI. It's what's hot on the press. It's what everybody's talking about. It's what everybody's like having stress about, having this like mentality where people are like, damn, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know about the jobs. And not just AI in regards to creative and like not just stuff that's related to VO3 or Luma AI or Kling or Runway or Higgsfield or any of those, generative platforms. We're talking about AI that's taking people's jobs right now. They didn't give us no time, y'all. They didn't give us no time to figure this AI thing out, learn about it, give some sort of, hardstone accreditation in colleges and schools, high schools, get, people to learn about this before they came in and they said, give us them jobs. We tired of paying y'all. We tired of paying y'all's way of living. Y'all complaining too much. Y'all cost too much. Y'all want to take PTO. Y'all want to work remote. Y'all don't want to be the OG slaves, the OG 9 to 5 slaves that we want y'all to be. So we're going to replace y'all with AI. And it's crazy. And look what's happening. So without further ado, I want to get into this content because I think it's of most important right now that you look at what is happening with generative AI in terms of the marketing and advertising industry because it's affecting people now in big tech and in white collar roles. And now it's coming. It's been coming, but now they're getting it to the point where when you can release this to the masses, to the public, when you can put this on primetime TV, the jig is up right now. So before I get into this video, because I had watched like the first couple minutes, they only played 30 seconds of this new AI commercial that's came out by Kalshi, which is essentially, and I'll pull it up right here for you guys. Basically, Kalshi is, and you see they got 2.6 million views. 2.6 million views. A lot of brands would love to get that on X or Twitter or any platform for that matter. I've posted people's commercials and gotten more views on my own like creative pages than some of these companies that are worth billions of dollars have gotten out of their own pages because I don't want to go on off of a tangent, but a lot of people, and this is part of the broadcast tonight. I want to make this a wholesome, hearty broadcast because I want people who are watching this, who are tuned in, to understand I'm passionate about filmmaking. I'm passionate about the culture as it relates to commercials and advertising and marketing in terms of filmmaking and where that's been going in terms of like the technology, the access, the resources, and what are those vital and pivotal changes, like what do they do to communities, how do they impact people on the grassroots level, on the independent level, how do they affect also large private major small local business corporations and their thoughts about filmmaking, their thoughts about producing and green lighting, all different types of things. So I'm coming here to be a messenger of truth. I'm coming here to be someone who can be accounted upon in terms of understanding the landscape. And I just want to rock with y'all. It's just going to be an ongoing thing. As I am new to multiple platforms, I am really just here to be, a steward of the people, someone who's at service to you guys, someone who understands the industry, both the tech industry and the filmmaking industry. I've worked in major corporations in tech and I've worked on major film production sets, being a director, a producer, and a cinematographer. I've done enough to at least be able to bring value to you. Okay. So let's get into this Kalshi commercial where it is talking about why you should basically start utilizing their platform to do a one-stop shop, carte blanche trading. Like you want to wage a bet on if Toto, your dog, will live till it's 13 years old, you can place a bet on that. If you want to place a bet on if your neighbor is going to foreclose on their mortgage and not be able to, keep their home, you can bet on that. If you want to bet on your cousin's not going to be able to pay for their car and it's going to get repossessed, you can bet on that. You can bet on anything now. They've been approved to do so, essentially. This is why they got this grandpa in this first frame. And that's an important thing that I want to talk about too, is what you're seeing in this commercial. But I'm going to let y'all look at it first with fresh eyes if you haven't seen it. If you have seen it, it's only 30 seconds, so here we go.
Indiana gonna win, baby!
We're in Florida asking people what they put their money on! I'm all in on OKC!
Indiana got that dog in them!
Will egg prices go up this month?
I think we'll hit $20. How many hurricanes do you think we'll have this year? Kalshi lets you legally trade on anything, anywhere in the U.S. KC!
OKC!
So you see that? It's a very quick-paced dopamine hit commercial. Boom, 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 boom. No frame is the same. And if you look at this first shot, it looks so real. Y'all don't understand. Y'all don't understand what this is doing and what this is going to cost, right? The first frame this looks like somebody's grandpa at a basketball game and he's getting escorted out because he ran onto the court belligerent, drunk, just rooting for his team, got the flag draped on him. The officers look real, look stern, like, come on, grandpa, we gotta let them play basketball. The woman who's young lady who's interviewing the grandpa or whatever, like, it looks semi-scripted stage, but also like so real. The audience, everything, like, you don't even want to waste time picking out things because it's so insignificant at this point.
Indiana gonna win, baby!
The voice narration, everything sounds immaculate, sounds great. Like, what?
Florida asked.
Now look at these, to me, you got a guy riding on a gator. I didn't notice this the first couple of times, maybe 3-4 times I've seen it. I didn't even know he was riding on a gator. That might be unrealistic, but everything else, the women look like sorority girls. The women all look realistic, like they're drinking, having fun, cheering on like it's college game day. Look at this stuff. As a filmmaker, as a director, these shots are quintessential because if they don't grab your attention, they don't hook you. Oh my gosh. Like the grandpa in the first shot hooks you because it's like drama. He's getting escorted out on the court. The next shot, right, when you go in, you got beer everywhere. You got a dude riding on gator. You got all this excitement with the sorority girls dancing. Now you go to your grandma on the side of the road. So you go, grandpa, young, old grandma. So you see how they're kind of playing with the duality here, keeping it old or keeping it senior. we none of us should talk. We're all gonna be old, hopefully one day. But you're keeping it old, young, old, right? Doing that so that you can keep multiple demographics included and hip to the commercial. And you see the copywriting. I didn't get the copywriting because I was so enamored with the footage until eventually, like, okay, I see it enough. Okay, I'm starting to understand. Like the first time watching it, my mind wasn't even thinking about this being a commercial for betting, right?
Indiana got that dog
Placing wagers
in him.
Like even that shot, as weird as it is, India got that dog, and it looks like it could be palpable. His gut looks way too like that's an amazing art director, or he's created it, but these is not real. That's the end of the day. We're going to start discussing and looking at these commercials like they are real, like they're true to life. And when people go out there, this is the most unfortunate thing about AI. People will now be going out there who do have some budget, who do have the capabilities to produce. And when you're talking about commercials now, maybe not feature length films, a lot of people now that was their bread and butter, essentially their work, if they continue to produce actually quality, high quality commercials, high quality see over the top television ads and all those naming conventions for watching TV on or watching commercials on your phone or on your TV or hearing it on blah blah blah. Like the issue is now your real footage might be questioned to be AI. People now are going to look at the footage you make, shooting with your reds and your 10 bits and 12 bits of depth and your 4K, your 6K, and your 8K, and your 12K now. Your stuff is going to look perfect because now people can afford to go and buy consumer level cameras that shoot amazing quality. There's not leaving anything to the naked eye in terms of quality. But now people are going to be like, man, like that was a dope commercial. Did you use AI or those real actors and actresses? So people who are going to spend hours and days on sets creating commercial campaigns, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, these same people now might have their work questioned, might have to go through some sort of questionnaire once they upload to platforms. Is this AI? This looks like AI, or it was detected to be AI. Because if your stuff looks, that is what AI was trying to copy. How to get things to look so photorealistic. I mean, some of this stuff.
Will egg
weird,
prices go
but because it all looks real.
up this month?
I think
Like the guy's sitting there.
think we'll hit $20. How many?
In a pool of, like going back now, I'm like, yeah, this, if they did this for real, this would have been like you can't even fake a rain like this. You would have to do a lot of VFX. This would have been like, this could have been a $5 million commercial. And to think somebody probably made this for 3-4 bands of generations, if that.
How many hurricanes do you think we'll have this year? Kalshi lets you legally trade on anything, anywhere in the U.S. KC.
Okay,
Crazy. And the thing about it is they aired this during the NBA finals. They aired this during the NBA finals. Not like game 4 closeout sweep type of stuff, like, oh, nobody's been watching it, so Disney or whatever corporations said, oh, we'll give you guys some discounts on ad time because no one's watching anyways. No, you're talking about a pivotal game 3. They aired this alongside commercials that cost $500,000. Alongside commercials that cost $500,000, they aired this. So I'm trying to tell y'all that what's happening is that the costs were too high. People will always try to find solutions to bring them down. Especially when you're paying people for a creative service and not manual labor, or not something that's going to save your life, like you're a doctor or some, rocket scientist or some sort of neurosurgeon or some sort of lawyer that's going to keep you from facing the death penalty or something like that. Like, people will pay if they know they have to pay. If they can cut cost around your craft or your skill set, they will do so. And these corporations are like, why would we spend all this money and lose, profit or revenue because we have commercial expenses that are so high and are not guaranteed to bring us the ROI we're looking for? And so, look, LinkedIn is real quiet about this commercial because everybody who's working at WPP, 72 and Sunny, Goodbye and Silverstein, all of your who's, everybody's quiet because no one wants to come out and be like, damn, like everything I'm doing now, all the copywriting, the art directing, me looking at, different agencies or film production companies in order to create these commercials or create these campaigns or to create these workflows of advertising and marketing assets. Like, now AI can do it, and it could only take a team of 2 to 5 people to make immaculate AI content versus a building of 100+ people walking around, getting coffee 3-4 times a day, going to the bathroom in and out 3-4 times a day, taking a 2-3 hour break essentially because you're not really working all 8 hours. Like, that to people's bottom line, even though greed is really the biggest issue here. It's just like they're like, if we can work around it and still find our creative appetite, still find our creative skill sets, that is exactly what we're going to do. And that's what you're seeing here in real time, people. You are seeing I would say, I don't want to call it the fall of filmmaking because that sounds too dramatic, but I'm going to say it's the fall of filmmaking as we once knew it, unfortunately. Because, like I said, once you are someone now who is still creating $100,000+ commercial spots. You're still creating these really expensive, over the top Super Bowl-esque commercials, and you're charging clients an exorbitant amount of money to do so. They're gonna start looking at AI and be like, man, we could pay a fraction of that for what you're trying to do, and have just somebody go and prompt the stuff and put it together in a couple of days, because that's what it took this person to do. His name is PJ, who created this commercial. He said it took him a couple of days and maybe 200 to 300 generations of footage to create a 30-second spot that would have took maybe a month. It could have took a month to make this in real time, to go to each location, to shoot in different weathers, to stage it, to have everybody in attendance. And oh my God, this is going to save brands millions, and it will roll into billions of dollars. And it's crazy because it's affecting people, but it's also a time where people need to understand there's a lot of opportunity here, and it's in everybody's fingertips. Just like if people knew you started streaming YouTube or Twitch 5 years ago or during the pandemic, a lot of people would have done so and made a name for themselves. But a lot of people was just like, I don't want to do that. I want to come off corny. Now corny is in. Corny is cool. Being kind of weird is cool now because people feel like we've gotten inundated with people trying to be posers and be these pretentious people who like, I'm cool and I'm too cool for school. I got my sunglasses on inside. I don't really want to look at you in the face. And now people are like, no, I want people who are genuine. I want people who are normal. And I don't mind if they're a little bit weird or they're a little bit corny. The Empire Strikes Back. Motherfucker. Ain't that some shit, man? Ain't that some shit? So there you have it. Like, I wanted to bring y'all this commercial because I thought that was very important that we have a conversation. Y'all have to let me know your thoughts and opinion about this commercial from Kalshi. Like I said, people on LinkedIn is quiet. Normally, when they do real commercials on LinkedIn, you got Ad Week and Ad Age talking about it. They don't want to talk about it too much. Guess who is talking about it though? CNNBC is. What do they have to say?
Sorry, quite an ad too. We're going to show it to you. Remember, it's fully AI generated ad. It just aired on ABC during prime time, during an event watched by millions.
Indiana gonna win, baby.
We're in Florida asking people what they put their money on. I'm all in on OKC.
Indiana got that dog in them.
No camera crews, no soundstage, just prompts, Google's Gemini, and a major TV slot. Now, it was created in just 2 days using Google's new VO3 video generation tool. It's the same one unveiled last month to a ton of fanfare and to a wave of viral content. Some of the most popular, you guys might have seen it, includes Moses live streaming the Exodus and Stormtrooper vlogs. Now, there have been text-to-video models before, but VO3, it's the first to realistically pair lip-synced spoken dialogue with cinematic quality visuals. And that meant that Kalshi could take it beyond social media virality and into prime time.
Y'all better start buying Google stock. And I know it's at 175. If it comes to $300 here soon, if these once they start allowing VO3 to do references where you can have good character consistency, oh my gosh.
Time broadcast TV. And so it's an early look at how AI could start to disrupt traditional production with implications for the next wave of AI, for brands, and for an industry built on expensive human-led workflows.
That's what I was saying, chat. That's what I was saying. I'm sitting here saying that, look, a lot of these people who work at these advertisement companies and who work at these consultant companies and these creative agencies, they don't like this. But there's nothing they can do except embrace it or eventually these major corporations are just going to start pulling the contracts and just going to start saying we're not renewing. What? Why? For what? We can just go hire a little team of internal prompters to create our commercials now.
Shares of major ad agency holding companies are already under pressure, taking a hit last week after Meta announced plans to fully automate ad creation by 2026. Now, Kalshi's ad, it may be early, but again, it shows how fast AI is moving up the value chain. It also raises new questions around deepfakes, public trust, how media companies weigh AI advancements against disrupting their own customers. Now, this is ironic. This is an ad-generated spot that aired on Disney-owned ABC, even as Disney sues Midjourney, an AI image generator, for copyright infringement. Now, on one hand, the company is
See, look, we I don't want her to skip past that too fast. We got to talk about this real quick. Look, don't you understand? Look, don't you understand that even though Disney is suing for their own intellectual property, that's smart. Their lawyer, they have the best lawyers in the world. You talking about Aiden Ross and his lawyers. Think about the Disney lawyers that's on payroll. You don't think that they woke up and been like, hey man, we could just sue y'all, and then eventually get y'all to do something in their algorithm or in the generation that removes Darth Vader and Yoda and any sort of Star Wars, unless you're going to give us some licensing fee, we're going to get a cut. This is just money. This isn't like we're upset, Matt. Why could you do so? This is Midjourney and all you AI platforms. How could you let people take the stormtroopers and Baby Yoda and all these characters that we own the IP to? How could you let? No, they don't care. They've already gotten their billions of dollars and they still own these IPs. What they're saying is, if you're going to use our stuff, we're going to get a cut. Or we're going to sue y'all into oblivion because we're Disney. Right? You're going to be in court with us for the next 10 years. So either, kiss the ring, make a good partnership, make nice, play fair, make nice, play fair, or we gonna come for your pockets because you're basically taking our intellectual property and you're allowing people to use, and then people can go post it on YouTube or other platforms and make money without giving us a cent. You will want your cut. Ain't that what Drake and a lot of people in the industry are fighting for? Like, hey, give us our fair share. Don't do these maneuvers. Everybody is gonna try to protect their best interests. But what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, if it makes dollars, it's going to make sense to these corporations. At one hand, Disney's like, don't use our IP in your AI. Other hand is, oh, AI videos, you guys are going to pay, put up money for, we don't care if you spend a penny on production. This is our fee or our cost for a slot to air during the NBA finals. It's $300,000, $200,000. All right, cool. You pay that, we don't care. Whatever, AI, no AI, real or fake, as long as it's not going to cost us a violation with the FCC or any, sort of commissions, cool. Give us our money. We're in the advertising business. We're in the advertising business.
Even as Disney sues Midjourney, an AI image generator, for copyright infringement. Now, on one hand, the company is profiting from an AI-generated commercial they had to pay to get on during the NBA Finals. On the other hand, it's suing another AI company for generating content with its IP. So guys, this is really a contradiction, but also a preview of what is coming. The business models, they're changing faster than the rules. I feel like we've said that or had a story on that every day this week, but it just continues to happen, and it's going to happen at an even faster pace.
And I feel like you've continually called out the ad industry as one that's worried. This is just the latest chapter in that.
It's aired on ABC.
So everybody's thinking the same way. Everybody's thinking the same way right now. Everybody is thinking and has the same mentality right now in terms of AI and what's happening and how it's affecting the entire landscape of technology, of jobs, of creativity, of the industry at large. And we have to be honest, we have to come in and really have a conversation on what we're going to do, because I think we're going to move into an era where filmmaking, it's going to be, everything's going to come from the mind, right? In terms of prompting, you're going to have to now actually be someone who's adroit at storytelling, comedy, and copywriting, and also filmmaking, but in a passionate way, not in a, I'm trying to just do this just for work, because I don't think that's sufficient anymore as far as a fuel to keep you passionate about something as quintessential as um, filmmaking and as commercials and advertisement and how that plays on the psychology of people. So I'm kind of trying to sit here and tell you guys that if you're a filmmaker right now, I think this is the best time to be a filmmaker. Like, be a storyteller. If you're someone who is funny and good at copyright, someone who's in Hollywood, stressed out, I didn't get my big break on these big shows or these big productions. I didn't get no calls. I went to all these castings, or I had submitted my drafts or my scripts to multiple producers. I hear nothing, but this is a great time for you to pop your shit. Because if you learn these tools now, a year from now, you can start putting stuff in theaters. I book it. You got commercials today that's on live TV. It's going to be something that's going to pop up in film a year from now. If not at 2 years at most, you got commercials today. Look, clip this. This is a clip. Steven, clip this, because I got to clip myself right now. But there are commercials today that are AI generated that are playing during the NBA finals. Don't you think a year or two from now, there are going to be feature films that are made totally by AI? If you are a filmmaker, you're running out of excuses if you have it. Not because I'm telling you to go create with AI. I'm telling you that it doesn't even matter anymore. Because if you go spend, I appreciate and love as a film director the communal aspect of working with other people on set. I think it's heaven, right? But to get to that juncture is like its own entire production. That's why you call it pre-production. Because if you don't have an abundance of money, you end up dealing in situations where you spend more time trying to figure out how to make the movie, how to get the funding, how to get the right people, than you do spend time actually creating the project itself on set or shooting or editing and cutting. You spend so much time figuring out how to get the idea out of your head and into real life. Now, you literally can go from idea in your head to real life without being on set. So it's like I said, you go now and you go spend $100,000, $1 million, $2 million, $5 million on a Super Bowl commercial, or you spend it on whatever commercial for any private sector, public sector company, and you're gonna have people saying, "Is that AI? Is this commercial AI?" You're like, "No, these are real actors. These are real actresses and actors. Real people worked hard on set." I'm like, "Well, sorry, everything looks the same now. I can't tell. I can't go after every actor or actresses that I see in a commercial and go track them down on IMDb or go track them down on social media to figure out who they are. I can't do that. I don't know who they are. They're not rolling end credits at the end of commercials." So that's where we are, man. That's where we are. Because you don't understand. Right now, Hollywood is basically saying we give up. People are the as a correlation to this, we already know McKinsey, and I got this loaded up because we're gonna get into this too. Okay. Because my homie Chris Bach, I hope I'm pronouncing the brother's name, Chris Bach or Bake or Bake. He put out this about basically what's going on in terms of Warner Brothers and their whole split and stuff and their whole merger and demerging with Discovery, and they're changing from HBO to HBO Max to Max. Like, and I'm like, who is Max? When I was growing up, when we were watching The Sopranos, The Wire, even Sex and the City, it was just HBO. But whatever. Chris says in 2022, McKinsey was paid $55 million to advise Warner Brothers to combine with Discovery. From 2022 to 2025, McKinsey charged Warner Brothers Discovery $37 million by advising the company to change to HBO Max, then to Max, then back to HBO Max. In 2025, McKinsey billed Warner Brothers Discovery an additional $63 million to determine that Warner Brothers Discovery should just separate brands again. Just separate. So you mean to tell me, and this is I don't want to put my tinfoil kufi hat on, But I think from reading the comments around what everybody's been saying about this looks like money laundering. This looks like money laundering. And I say that not to be accusatory, but I'm just saying that if I was just looking at this at a glance at 10,000 feet in the air, I would say it reeks of mismanagement of funds, because you have people literally who are taking these basically $1,000 to $5,000 an hour consulting fees to go and sit down and build roadmaps and configure and reconstruct your organization structure, figure out how to do marketing, reposition, and all this other jazz. Only to really say, we came here to basically tell you how to merge with Discovery, change your name to HBO Max, and then we told you to change it back to Max, then we said change it to HBO Max. Right? And you paid us $155 million. And we're not a movie and film production company. We're just consultants that have organic data and outside data. And we're basically, we are thinking externally for you guys. So there's not bias there. We're third party, or we're neutral. So we're just coming to bring in data. We're just coming to look at your reports and your back end and see how we can help you. And it's going to cost you $155 million. To do what? That money could have went to greenlight so many films. You would think Hollywood, fresh off of Sinners, would be thinking, how do we find the next 10 Ryan Cooglers? We don't even have to give him $90 million. When you talk about Variety here, and Variety's still in hot water for talking about, $60 million. They made $60 million in the weekend, but they're still about $30 million short of making a rabbit. And look, now they're falling flat on their face because Sinners is going to be hitting $400 million. If not, they're already at 350. They've already made a profit. All their market, now it's just revenue, profits. Because people went and watched it on streaming. People bought it on streaming. It's the hottest movie of the year. And you would think Hollywood say, man, we could just go around the country and find 10 Ryan Cooglers, give them $2-3 million a piece. I'm sure at least 3 or 4, maybe even 5 out of the 10 directors we find who have original IPs or unique stories, they might actually turn us a profit. That would actually help the industry. No, the industry is spending $155 million to basically cash themselves out. And the thing is, these people at the top, who are at the top of the brass in these corporations, they'll be okay. Once AI takes over and the jobs are already gone in California. The production is already down in California. People have already left the state to go elsewhere in order to filmmake at an effective cost. So now it seems like the people who are in Hollywood or in the media and advertising, the big wigs, they're just like, how do we cash out? Let's hire some consultants and tell them, hey, it's basically for lack of better words, earlier I said money laundering. I say this is just an insurance policy that they figured out a loophole to kick in so that they could get, their claim would be paid out. Essentially, McKinsey Company said, hey, look, we ain't gonna do nothing, but there's some people that we can get paid on the back end because this is gonna be a big bill, so we can move around. This is what happens in a lot of third world countries in terms of politics. And we're not talking about politics, but this is what happens when you have a mismanagement of funds, misappropriations of funds, is that companies are basically able to rake in money and not do anything. And that money could have went to hiring thousands of people to be on set, to work on a major picture, to work on multiple movies, to do all sorts of marketing and advertising things that could have been like, why don't they just have internal people do it? Because that's where you get a lot of the whistleblowers. If things internally were looking like they were doing stuff like they are extra, but they can now blame McKinsey Company and say, McKinsey told us to do it. McKinsey told us to do it. McKinsey told us to change our name, our glorious legacy, our pristine name, HBO to HBO Max. Then they told us to change it to Max, then back to HBO Max. Then they told us to demerge, basically separate from Discovery after though we did all this. Oh my gosh. Do you see what is happening before? These people are trying to escape with the bag. They know things are coming down in marketing and advertising and in Hollywood, and they are essentially trying to any crumblets of money they can find to not pay real people, to not pay people to be on set, to not give money to real creatives, copywriters, internal teams who need a raise or who are overdue for promotion. They are trying to do that. And the people at the top and the board positions, the people who don't have to listen to nobody, essentially are all paying themselves off. So when everything goes crumbling down, when companies have to file for bankruptcy, when people have to close shop, people could at the top said, well, I got mines. Y'all have a good day. And that's what's happening. To my opinion. What do I know? I'm just a neighborhood director trying to figure out the landscape of film and entertainment. And what I'm seeing right now is I'm seeing Skynet arise, and I'm seeing the people who could be doing something to mitigate it, to prevent it, or and maybe not prevent it because I think it's inevitable, but doing something to create an alternative are spending monies lining their own pockets instead of reinvesting in an industry that desperately and sorely needs this type of cash flow. But you're spending money on consulting services, and what are you getting? You're walking around in circles. You're literally going in circles doing nothing. What Russell Westbrook say about Patrick Beverley that one night? He said, Patrick, he just be running around doing nothing. He'd be thinking he'd just be running around just doing cardio. He's not really doing nothing, not really hooping, just doing cardio. So it's important that we take note of this, chat and family. It's important because this is a pivotal time. If we aren't aware of what's going on right now, we don't take notice in terms of understanding, all right, how maybe we can't move as fast as technology, but how do we create alternatives to save the people who actually care about filmmaking and the filmmaking process? How do we come up with silos or a new mecca, sort of say, where people can go and filmmake and it's untouched and you can do real fame filmmaking? And there's places where you can showcase that are away from AI, where it's not mixing up an art form which really isn't the same. It looks the same, but it's not the same art form. One is a process that takes your hands, that takes your eyes, that takes your hearing, all your senses. It takes. The other one is based in zeros and ones. So this is why it's important right now. If you're a filmmaker, is you're gonna start having to band together. You're gonna need a band together, because if you don't band together, what's gonna happen is people who have been self-sufficient on their own, who have been able to do things on their own, essentially, it's kind of like the revenge of the nerds in sort of a way, because just like as we saw with Silicon Valley, when the nerds got power, basically all encompassing powers they do now with the folks like Elon, they are not nice to the people who thought they were too cool for school, who didn't want to mess with the quote unquote nerds or the losers or whatever verbiage that they wanted to place on those type of, technology, savvy leaning people, right? Who were creating all these applications and softwares and platforms. Now that they own these applications, softwares, and platforms, they're looking at us like we own y'all. Y'all dog food to us right now, because y'all thought we were just going to be sitting here being your guys' IT support people, right? Just behind the scenes. Nah, now we own you. We're taking your jobs, we're taking your careers, we're taking your creativity, we're taking your nuance and ingenuity, and we're putting it into zeros and ones. How do you like them apples? That's something, people. You got to marinate on that. You got to marinate on that, because if you don't, you'll just pass by in the next year. They'll be sending you an email at your job saying, so we don't need your services anymore. Or there'll be companies that you're reaching out to saying, hey, I would like to do a so-and-so for you. I'd like to create. No, we don't need you. Outside of live events and weddings and graduations, those will be the last things to go, because people obviously need those real life moments. So I don't, that's why I don't think this is like death to all filmmaking. What I'm saying is that people who have been thinking of this as a working thing in terms of commercials and films, they will have to approach their mythology in a different way going forward. And I think it's going to be in a way where you're going to have to be more inclusive of community and what you're bringing to the table with your organic filmmaking. You can no longer just say, hey, I just want to shoot big, but your filmmaking now has to serve a purpose. It has to be somewhat impactful. It has to be necessary. It has to be needed. It has to be informative. It has to bring value. And I don't mean in an advertisement we're trying to sell you. It has to bring something to people that the previous generations of filmmaking did not, because there was too much gatekeeping in Hollywood. There was too much gatekeeping in the filmmaking industry. Cameras had cost too much for far too long. The technology of the cameras, of the physical camera body, right? And the lenses and stuff that we have, the technology wasn't moving fast enough. It was coming down, it was becoming more consumer friendly, but it was nowhere near moving as fast as the technology of AI. And so you still needed to hire a bunch of people, get lightings, do all this stuff, even though you can go to Best Buy and buy you a nice camera, that shoot at 1.8 or 2.1 or whatever, give you, whatever, aspect ratio, frame size, color, depth, all this stuff that we appreciate as filmmakers. It essentially now is the equipment is going to be another thing that's going to come down, is the equipment, the cost of the equipment. You thought it was coming down. That's going to come down even more, because people are going to be like, well, we don't need an Ari Alexa. We can prompt for that. We don't need a Sony, Vegas or whatever, not Vegas, the big Sony camera. We don't need any of that. We don't need the Reds 6K, 8Ks. We don't need the Black Magic Pockets, the Sony FX3s. We don't need that. We don't need all this. Even the software now is going to meet eventually its maker in terms of, we can prompt to edit. We can prompt to color grade. We can prompt to do everything now, where we don't need these tools and softwares. You would think this would be outlawed, for the fact that it's going to take away so many pivotal jobs that are based upon software and technology and film. You would think this would be something that's outlawed, but it's not. I want to keep talking about this, and so we will. I don't want to keep you guys updated on what's going on with AI, because I want to be someone who's at the forefront of this with you guys. I want to be one of the people who are at the front of the roller coaster, letting y'all people behind me know that it's going to be okay, or that it's not, or that it's not going to be okay, because this is crazy. So, to wrap up our broadcast tonight, y'all, because it's getting late. I appreciate y'all for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, chat that was live with me during this Twitch stream, I really appreciate it, y'all, because to be honest, I'm just trying to find my way here in filmmaking in this day and age, like so many of us are. And I think when I look at a lot of the places where they're talking about AI, they're not yet included. They're not yet including the culture. As you see, Casanat and what he did at the BET Awards, what he did at other award shows, how he's bringing the culture of the communities that are all over the United States, all over the world, for a matter of fact, how he's bringing them to once veiled events where they didn't want to, they want you to see behind the scenes. They didn't want to see what's going on, and just turn off the lights. And Kai is illuminating what's been happening, or how people actually are in a live setting in real life. So I think that's very, very important, that we're in a time where, people start bringing the culture towards spaces that were once gate kept or withheld or not given access to. Because I think marketing and advertisement and filmmaking has been very gate kept, but it leeches off culture so much, but it's been so gate kept by these certain types of people. And then when other people who are actually of the culture try to come in and add nuance or taste or try to improve the system in ways that it's not conducive for you and I, they're met with all of this uphill battles, all of this people throwing objects in their way so they can't succeed. And now AI can either serve you for positive, or you could be someone who uses it to subjugate people. And so it's going to be an interesting time. And so that's why I say Kai and a lot of people, I feel like this is a new generation. This is a new, pun intended, generation, literally, in terms of where we're at right now. I think for the next 5 to 10 years, the people who get to become AI filmmaking stars, or who know how to use AI and organic filmmaking together, are going to be able to do phenomenal things because they'll have unlimited control of what you see. There'll no longer be barriers on how to produce things that come in, that start in the brain, and that can now be shown and transmitted on screen. So that's why I'm like, as much as I love and appreciate and really just want to work in an organic filmmaking sense, I can't help but realize that if I don't have the skills to prompt an AI commercial, then maybe I'm not the best film director that I think I am. If I don't know how to use a technology that essentially communicates the same thing, as you see in this commercial, it felt real. Even though if you pause it and you go for it, you could see some things and be like, it ain't real, but it looks real. And because the copywriting is so energetic and so full of life and so full of spontaneity, it feels real. And last year or 2 years ago, when we saw the Will Smith, everybody was like, "This don't feel real. It don't look real." Now it looks real and it's starting to feel real and sound real. So what are we gonna do, y'all? What are we gonna do? But I know what we're not gonna do. We're not gonna worry. And this has been a So No Worries broadcast. I appreciate y'all for checking in. Please comment, please subscribe, please share this video with your filmmaking family or friends, or just your family and friends. Y'all, this is an inclusive space for everybody, no matter who you are, where you come from. I think this is an important topic and conversation because AI is not just affecting creatives, it's affecting your normal day-to-day people. And I'm here for y'all. So no worries. All right. Peace.